To hit the most successful drives that you can, striking the driver from the middle of the club face is pretty much essential. Modern clubs are more forgiving than their predecessors, but if you want the most efficient transfer of energy from the swing onto the ball, that's why we need to hit the center of the face. Now, obviously, that is easier said than done, and the chances were, if you were striking the driver from the middle every time, we wouldn't be spending the next 6 to 8 minutes together. And yet, here we are. Thank you for being here, and if you are not a subscriber to the Swing Quest channel already, make sure you hit that button now. We upload weekly videos to help you improve every aspect of your game. So how can we try and ensure a more center contact on the face? Now, I want to introduce you to something today that you may not have used before, you may not have seen before, but you can pick up for relatively cheap on Amazon, although other online shopping outlets are available. So this is Impact Spray. This is from a company that I got sent through. This isn't a paid video or anything, and there are other versions of this available. But what this does, very simply, all you need to do is spray it on your driver face, give it a good old coating. And as you can see here, the magical world of chemistry takes over, and all of a sudden this driver face has become a slightly different color. Now, hopefully I can give a really good demonstration shot here. You know what? I've got a really bad feeling that was absolutely centered, just a bit high. It's not bad. It's not bad. So I could also gather this data using the GC Quad to get where the strike is located. But as you can see here, I've struck it pretty much from the center of the club, just slightly high on the face. Now, we will get into more of the specifics about where you strike it on the club face and what type of energy transfer, what type of spin, what type of flight that could accomplish. Striking from the center of the club, that gives the most efficient energy transfer from swing speed into ball speed. Now, we can get into that in a little bit more detail, but you can be safely assured that striking the center of the club face on the sweet spot is going to give you the most potential energy transfer into the golf ball. Now, you could be asking yourself, well, Pete, just how is going to be spraying the face beneficial to me hitting the center of the driver? Well, let me explain, Kevin. Understanding impact location is very, very important, and if you're seeing a current coach, they may be using impact spray or a system like the Quad, like Foresight, to understand where impact is. You need to understand where you're striking in the driver face, because that can affect ball flight, it can affect distance, and face is always the place to start if you're looking to change your swing. However, just giving your brain a task, such as trying to make the mark of the ball in the center of the club face, honestly, it's remarkably effective. Also, if you continue this pattern and you're consistently striking from one location, whether it be heel, whether it be toe, that will give you an indication of what you might need to change within your swing. But just having a target of striking the center of the club face, honestly, it's amazing what that can do. And I've also got a little drill up my sleeve that you can use to try and get that feeling a little bit more consistently. By using this type of system and by using the Quad, I know that my tendency is to hit slightly out of the toe. Now, for ball flight, for me, actually that's not the worst thing in the world, but we will get into that a little bit more. I just want to get that absolutely pure center strike for you guys. Oh, is that my tendency? It is! Ah! That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, so I know what you're saying. I can put all the spray in the world on my club face and I ain't going to be hitting the center. Well, Janice, I've got a drill for you as well, so don't you worry. So what I've done here is I've set up a gate drill. Now, this is something that Tommy Fleetwood uses, for example, and many other golf pros, but it's got a couple of things that I want you to be aware of. Now, the whole point of this drill is to get the club head passing through this gate and contacting the ball, which sits in the middle of the face. If you try and do this drill, like straight off the bat with a full swing, it's possible that it will work, but what I would recommend is linking this up with a little half swing drill which I'll show you now. The other thing to notice about this is the T, which is in the ground here. Notice how it's the same angle as the shaft. If you put something on the inside of the ball, which is, say, obviously it wouldn't be as big as this box, but is something which is quite tall, which could intersect the shaft, the hands will start automatically lifting to try and avoid that object. So if you want to put something on the heel of the club, let's make sure it's angled at the same point as the shaft. Oh, takes me back to my days on the street in Preston. I'll never reveal my tag name, and I never will. So as mentioned, moving this onto a full swing straight away is a little bit difficult. So what I would recommend is getting set up as you would for a normal driver, but only having a half swing back into impact through the gate and then a half swing through. Now, obviously, this ball is going to be going, what, maybe 120 yards through the air maximum. But this is all about training the body to pass that club through a gate, but also, once again, to try and find the center of the club face. It's dead straight. Through the gate, nothing was moved. I've not looked yet. Oh, it's fine. So you can see here that those impact marks, they're all pretty much clustered around the center of the club face, which is ideal, which is what we want. Now, just to give you a bit of an explanation as far as what would happen if you start to wander off the center of the club face, because that is where something called gear effect will start to be a little bit more dominant. So when you strike from either kind of like the heel or the toe, the club will twist around that axis. So if you strike it from the heel, the club will twist this way. If you strike it from the toe, the club will deflect away. What happens is, as the ball is struck from those points, gear effect takes place. Now, gear effect is if the club moves back this way, because of the bulge and roll of the face, the ball will start to twist off to the left-hand side, so it will draw back to target. Similarly, if you hit it from the heel, club will twist in this direction and it will come off with fade spin. Very simplified version of it there. But because the driver face is bulge and roll, this actually takes place if you strike it from the top of the club or the bottom. So the club will deflect backwards or it will deflect downwards. That's why when you strike a driver more from the bottom of the club, it spins up, starts off low and then spins up. But also, if you strike it from slightly above the equator, you can also get those high-flying, low-spinning bombs. And this is why, for me, actually striking it slightly high and slightly from the toe is not the worst thing in the world, because even though the energy transfer drops slightly as I move away from the center of the club face, I can actually launch the ball quite high with quite low spin. Also helps add a tiny little bit of a draw. Just like that. Just like that. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and you found it useful. Make sure you drop a like on the video, and to continue your swing quest and your improvement, check out these videos here.